Hello everybody, it's Nick here with Nick Tolman Music, and today we're going to go ahead and continue our beginner guitar lesson series using the Hal Leonard Guitar Method, Book 1. Let's get started. Alright, so today we're going to go ahead and take a look at page 22. And on page 22, we're going to learn 3 new notes, all found on the 5th string. So up to this point, we've only learned notes on the 4th string, and we've learned several songs already just using those notes, which has been really great. Now the beauty of the Hal Leonard method is that you've already learned chords that use all 6 strings, like the G chord, right? You've learned the C chord, which uses the top 5 strings, D7, but especially G and G7 use all 6 strings. So the concept of adding more strings shouldn't seem too overwhelming for you. We're going to go ahead and dive in and walk through these new notes. So the 3 new notes that we're going to learn, like I said, are all on the 5th string, and they are A, B, and C. Now, as you can see on the diagram here, there's a few things that we should talk about. So as you look at the note A, you'll notice that it's different from some of the other notes that we've learned up to this point, in that it is not actually on the staff. It is below the staff, and far below the staff, right? So the musical staff normally has 5 lines and 4 spaces. And we've talked about that in previous lessons, right? We've talked about the names of the lines and the names of the spaces. If you want to review that, I have a great video here. I'll put the link above and in the description where I talk about the names of the lines, the spaces, how the notes fit onto that with the staff. But the tool that we use to guide ourselves with notes that are either below or above the staff is called ledger lines. Now, ledger lines are just like mini little extensions of the staff. And we can have as many ledger lines as we want, really. Now, if you get way too many ledger lines, it just becomes impossible to read because you can't tell how many there are at a quick glance. But it's very common to have 2, 3, or even 4 ledger lines below or above a staff and be able to read those notes, okay? So the note A has 2 ledger lines. You can see that below the staff, 1, 2, and the note is sitting directly on that second ledger line. That note will always be A, our low A string, our 5th string, open. Okay? Now, the note B also has a ledger line, but it just has 1 ledger line, and the note is sitting directly below that ledger line. That location will always be the note B, which is going to be on the low A string here, and we'll play it with our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret. Okay, and there's a diagram right there on the page to help guide you with all of that information. Then the next new note that we're going to learn is the note C, which is going to be played with our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. C. Again, the note C uses 1 ledger line below the staff, but the note is sitting directly on the ledger line rather than below it like B was. Again, so our 3 new notes that we're talking about today are A, B, and C. All right, so let's go ahead and put these into action a little bit. Let's take a look at exercise number 47. We're going to play this at 72 and 120 on the metronome, and we're going to go from there. So here we go. Here's 47 at 72. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready and play. Now there's really nothing to that. We're just using these new notes. It should be very simple. It's just half notes, some quarter notes, and then that last note is a whole note. It does remind us to just keep our second finger down when we go up to that C. Why? Because we know that we're going right back to the B, and there's no sense in doing more movement than we have to. So go ahead and just leave that B down while you play the C. All right, let's go ahead and try 47 at a faster tempo. This is 120 on the metronome. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... There we go, nothing to it. All right, so let's go ahead and try exercise 48. This is called blues bass, and it's going to be kind of just a groovy little bass line using just these notes on the 5th string. And there are some chords. We haven't learned these chords yet, so I will go and play the chords. If you want to look ahead and try to learn the A chord and the E7, which we haven't talked about yet, feel free to do so. But for now, don't feel obligated to do those. I will play the chords for you so you can play along with them. All right, so here we go. Here is blues bass. This is the melody at 72. Here we go, number 48 at 72 on the metronome. 1, 2, ready, and play. Cool, so that melody is very repetitive. It's just using those notes. It does go up to the notes on the D string as well, but it's the same kind of finger pattern as you move up to that string and then you come back down. Nothing crazy to worry about, just kind of play the notes down. Let's go ahead and see what that sounds like with the chords at 72. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready, and go. Let's go ahead and bump this tempo up. So to me, this one really starts to groove when you get a little faster. So I'm going to actually put the metronome at 160. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and... There we go. Let's go ahead and try to add the chords there. You can play along and practice with these chords that I'm playing, or just hear what it sounds like and move along. So here we go. Here are the chords and melody together at 160 on the metronome. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and... All right, that one's a lot of fun. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's lesson. This is a quick one today, just introducing you to some new notes. Feel free to take as much time as you need to on this page to feel comfortable with these new notes before you really move on. Again, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. If you haven't checked out my Patreon page, also head on over there and check that out. I have a lot of great resources for you there to help you as you are learning guitar. Again, thank you, and we will see you at our next lesson.